Go ahead and start that. Okay, so I've put contact information for all of the ABC team. If you all have been on the calls over the last couple weeks, you know that we've got a smaller team now. We've kind of reorganized here in the office, and so you can reach out to any of us with any questions that you may have. If there's anything that you need, feel free to send us an email. So I'm also going to go ahead and just post our contact information as well on the screen. So again, Kayla Bodie, I'm the program administrator, so you can reach out to me by my cell phone, my email, and oh, someone said they can barely hear. Let me just see here.
You always have worker, right?
Okay, is that any better? I see lots of head nods. Yes. Okay, perfect. So I will just make sure that everyone can hear me. It may have been my speakers. I just tweaked one of the settings. So again, thank you for being here. And I'm really excited. We've got a lot of great feedback from the survey that we sent out. We were asking you all, what do you want to hear when it comes to these meetings? We're going to continue to do these throughout the year. We'll probably switch to like a monthly approach after when summer gets started. But we got lots of great feedback. Thank you so much for doing that. That really helps us to plan these calls and make sure that we're hitting things that are important to you. We know there's lots of changes, so it's just a great time to be able to get everyone together, answer the big questions. And so a lot of the questions that we had, I've put everything on the agenda for you all to see before the meeting, so you knew when you were getting on this meeting to what all we would be talking about. And so the first thing is I'm so excited, and I want to just welcome Miss Lori Bridges, the Assistant Director here with the Office of Early Childhood. She is going to talk today about curriculum and class. We had a ton of questions about curriculum and class specifically. So I am going to be quiet and turn it over to Lori Bridges. Thank you, Lori, for being here with us today.
Thank you, Kayla. And yes, we had an opportunity to look at some of the questions that were asked on the survey. And so we have taken and put together some slides to help be supportive in giving you the information that you are requesting. So give me just a minute to share my screen. Okay. Are you able to see the resource page? Okay, great.
Resources. Yep.
Okay. Well, some of the questions that were asked were first, will licensing specialists be conducting the observations? And we have a variety of staff in the Office of Early Childhood that have gone through observation training and are certified class observers. But it is going to be the local lead agency in your region that will be putting together the observation schedules and will be putting together the team of observers for the class pilot. So if your area maybe has limited class observers, they may reach out to the OEC team and utilize some of our certified class observers to do the practice ratings during this pilot learning year. So, but it will not be, licensing specialists that do all of the observations for class. So it will be going through the local lead agencies to plan and coordinate those with your programs. Another question before we go into some of the resources that we've provided on a website is, so when will class be for all, not just the pilot programs, but when will all programs receive training and start class? Well, it is a pilot year, and so that means it's an opportunity for Arkansas to use the tool to build capacity in certified reliable observers for the state. So how we have set this up, as our local lead cohorts have been implemented throughout the state, we have been using that as how we phase in the class pilot programs. So the first cohort started in the fall, and that was cohort 1, and we had 12 local lead agencies that participated in cohort 1. We had approximately 200, close to 250 classrooms that were observed during that time. Now we have moved into cohort 2. So we have added additional local leads across the state. So this will be phase 2, and those local leads will be working with publicly funded programs in their catchment area to expand the number of programs and classrooms that are in the class pilot. And again, this is allowing us as a state to gather baseline data to make informed decisions, on how we will be moving forward on creating a unified accountability system. And when I say unified, all publicly funded programs in Arkansas will use one accountability system. And if Head Start currently uses CLASS as their assessment tool. State-funded ABC programs use ERS. We have some, public school programs that utilize TEST, which is a teacher evaluation system for our K-12 program. So again, it's taking the data. Sorry about that. But it's us taking the data that we're getting from this learning year to expand, or we are expanding during this learning year to get more data for making those informed decisions on how we'll be moving forward. So this is a 2-year pilot program. So we anticipate next year during the transition pilot year to really be honing down and getting more information out to all programs. But that being said, I'm going to share some resources on this webpage that will allow all programs to be able to access information on quality interactions. And again, this is not to say just because you're not participating in the class pilot that you and your staff can't really dig into what the class tool looks at and how we can elevate the level of interactions that we have with children, because research states that the 2 biggest indicators of classrooms or for early childhood success is that teacher and that child interaction that goes on a daily basis within those learning environments. Someone asked again how class correlates to tests, and I'm going to show you some information on the website that will give you, those of you that are in public schools and that your teachers are licensed educators and have to also receive that test evaluation, and how you can coordinate those 2 assessments with class and tests. I'm going to show you a little bit of data. One asked, what is the data looking like so far? And we did collect data after the cohort 1 finished observations in late December, and I'll share a little bit of that data with you today. And then we'll get into the curriculum review process, and we'll talk about that. So I'm going to take you to the class webpage. Now, the QR code, and I'll put it back up, but the QR code and the link to the OEC class webpage is available for all providers to be able to utilize and get this information. So again, if you want to start sharing this information with your staff, that this is what these resources are for. But to give a little bit more background on what is class, we have a slide deck that you could use to go through and get some explanation on what is class and why OEC is piloting the use of this tool. The implementation timeline. So again, we talked about cohort 1 and their timeline started, the beginning of, or actually in July, prior to this program year. And then we've got phase 2 right now, where we've got additional programs and classrooms that are being invited to participate in the pilot as well. So this goes over what the timeline is, and if you have any questions on that. One of the documents that we share is an FAQ. And I believe most of the questions that were asked on the survey can be addressed with the frequently asked questions document. So it gives you some links to support your learning. If you are not familiar with who your local lead agency is for your program, you can click on the link and it will take you to a direct page that gives you the contact information for your local lead captain, who can support you in getting some more information, materials about class, and how and when, if your program will be participating in the pilot. And again, the pilot is giving us an opportunity to build capacity. So we may have lots of programs requesting to participate, but at this time, we haven't built the capacity to do the class observation and trainings with all programs. We are doing a phase-in approach to this pilot. So that FAQ is there, talks a little bit about what observations look like. Those of you that are familiar with the ERS, the Eckers Review, it's similar, where an observer comes in for about a 2-hour block of time. They do 4 20-minute cycles to look at different experiences of the children and the teachers in each classroom. And then it also gives some links to some additional information. The Teachstone website gives lots of information, videos, slide decks that you can use to gain information about the class tool. And then again, my contact information, if you have any questions, or if I can support, or our team can support you in any way. We have our directors, our site directors, we are encouraging to go through the class observation trainings. We do have scheduled trainings that we have a schedule that you can look through to see when class observation trainings are going on. This would be for, the local leads right now during the pilots are working with their programs to get their directors through those trainings. But again, if and when this tool is utilized, the expectation will be for all program directors to be trained in the class tool to be able to provide local observations with their staff and develop professional learning plans based on their class assessment tools. So again, we're trying to align professional development that is aligned to ratings. So it is an opportunity for continual growth for our educators across the state. But again, the expectation will be for all leaders to have this training, and then we will have training for teachers for them to understand what the class tool looks at and evaluates while they're in those classrooms. One of the things I like to tell our educators across the state is that with the class tool, our educators have control over everything that they will be evaluated in this tool. It is a tool that is measuring their interactions with children, and to support how we can depthen the quality of those interactions for child outcomes. And again, they are specifically correlated to child outcomes. One of the things that I think would be a phenomenal resource for our providers to share with teachers is the teacher resource page. And one of the things that I encourage our teachers to see is this video. It's just a 2-minute video that I'm going to share.
My name is Dara. I work in a pre-K classroom. My children are from 3 to 5, and we have a mixed age group. I've been teaching preschool probably about 15 years. The day they came in for class, I had prior knowledge they were coming. We had exchanged emails back and forth, and they made sure that it was going to be a day that should look like a typical day. You know, making sure all the key teachers are there, nothing crazy was going to be going on. So this way they could get a good snapshot of what our classroom really looks like. The observer came in a little bit before our class started. So she came in before we had children and parents, and it was crazy town. She just was kind of in a corner off to the side, watching with her little clipboard. And we just went about our day as normal. She did her 20 minutes, and then she went back into our workroom and just finished scoring. And then she'd come out and she'd do kind of another round. You've worked with children. You know how to be respectful of children. Be comfortable in your.
Okay, I'm going to stop for just a minute. Are you able to see my screen?
No, we can't
Okay.
see your screen.
Okay, let me.
I can see your screen.
What's going on? At the top now on Zoom, there's an option to choose to view Lori Bridges' screen.
I can see it.
And that if you haven't updated your Zoom lately, that might be why it's not showing, but you should be able to choose another view up at the top.
Thank you, Jenny.
Okay.
So,
And again, you will have the link and access to this from the webpage. So if you're not able to, it's like it's a 2-minute, 2.5-minute video that you can pull up. But we'll finish.
and just really trust in yourself and those skills. Trust your instincts and just keep going with it. Make sure you review your notes on class, what you're looking for, what you're probably already doing. Just make sure you review your notes, go over them, take a deep breath, and just really enjoy the children when you're with them. We're in the classroom every day, and we're not only dealing just with lesson planning, just with paperwork, just with looking from the outside. We're dealing with children, we're dealing with emotions, we're dealing with parents. If you have a full day program, you're dealing with naps. You depending on which age group, you're dealing with diapers, you're dealing with formula, you're dealing with bottles. Then you say, oh, well, class is going to come look at me too. It doesn't have to be one more thing, because all it helps us do as a profession is give us more legitimacy as to why we need open-ended play, why children need to be working through play, and how being supported social emotionally are going to make these children thrive and succeed. All class does is just point that out.
Okay, so again, just a little video to help alleviate, some of the worries from teachers as they're participating in the class pilot. And again, how class is aligned with conscious discipline. I can tell you in those classrooms that have been participating in the pilot, if they have those conscious discipline structures and they're using that language and those connection activities from conscious discipline, those emotional support domains are very high. So again, this is an opportunity for those programs that are participating or implementing conscious discipline to see how that aligns with class. There's also, what are the domains? The 3 main domains for class are, and this is for pre-K, and we'll go into a little bit, there is one domain for infants, 2 domains for toddlers and 3 domains for our pre-K. And within those domains, there are what we call dimensions. And so this gives you an idea of what those dimensions are that, make up each domain: emotional support, your classroom organization, and instructional support. So all of this information is nested in the webpage for you to be able to utilize. What to expect for with an upcoming observation. So if you have an infant classroom that's going to be observed, a toddler or pre-K, this is a document that kind of helps them know what to expect on the day of an observation. One of the questions that came up was also about tests. And we have embedded for observers. There's some professional developments that are available now. One of the things that we recommend that our providers do is to reach out to your local lead. They can also supply you with an asynchronous, we call it a primer course for leaders. And then there is a primer course for the educators. So again, your local lead captain can provide you with access to those. And then we do have some professional developments already being provided by some of our contractors and our partners here in Arkansas.
Hey, Lori, will you try to reshare your screen? There's some chats that said the screen disappeared. It looks like after the video, for some reason, it's not sharing your screen anymore.
Sorry, I've got too many screens open.
Okay, perfect. We can see your ABC office hours screen.
This ABC.
We see the class pilot scores by domain right now.
Okay, so let me see. Okay.
If you hit slideshow, it will maybe go bigger.
Yes, that is not the screen that I'm trying to share though. Let me get back to, here we go. All right, so moving right along. One of the questions was, what are those scores looking like right now in Arkansas? And so we did take some data on where our scores fell, and you can see that the domains that we discussed, we have infant, toddler, and pre-K domains, and we have them color-coded. And so you can see that, very early, our class scores in the pilot indicate that early childhood classrooms in Arkansas typically provide warm, positive environments for children, as indicated by the blue, red, and orange boxes. The yellow and green boxes indicate that engaged support for learning for toddlers and the instructional support for pre-K are more difficult, which is aligned with how the rest of the country scores nationally. So we know that just from that cohort 1, that there are some areas with those programs and classrooms that we can provide more support around engaged support for learning and with toddlers and instructional support for our pre-K age students. I'm not going to go into too much detail on the mean and the medians. You know, this is a very detailed piece of data. But again, we wanted you to see that, you know, we are seeing great things in our classrooms across the state when it comes to quality interactions. But we do know that we've got some area for improvement. And that's what the state wants to do, is make sure that we can provide resources and supports where they're needed. Okay, we're going to move into the question around curriculum. And we have taken data from work sampling, which all of our ABC programs participate in, to see what curriculums are being utilized the most across the state. In our pre-K 4 classrooms, you can see that, you know, we have between adventures in learning and what we have is other, you know, that's a huge chunk. And when we say other, we have things coming in like CDLs. We might have, you know, Launchpad being listed as a other in comprehensive curriculums. We might have, you know, different curriculums that are maybe not on the approved list. So we thought this would be a great time to not only take the data that we're receiving from class, but to really look at our current approved curriculum list. And so what we have done is we took the approved curriculum list and we took it through a process for some baseline criteria. And that is, number one, is the curriculum comprehensive in nature? And that means it's not just a supplemental curriculum, but it covers all domains in our early learning standards. So the first baseline criteria would be that it's comprehensive. The second baseline criteria would be that comprehensive curriculum has a scope and sequence. It's organized with a developmental scope and sequence that includes plans, materials for those learning experiences based on developmental progressions. And then, is the curriculum readily available? We learned through this process that we have several on that approved list that are out of date, no longer, you know, available. We've got some that are now, the publisher has changed and they've gone to other publishing companies. So this website, or this QR code and this link, can take you to our now this is an interim approved list. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that during this review, the development of this review process, we have an interim list posted to the ABC website and to the child care licensing website, that it is, while OEC is developing the review process to identify approved high quality early learning material curriculum, but while this process is being developed, any program that is considering new curriculum purchases, we would like you to use this approved list. Now, if the curriculum that you are currently using is not on this interim list, it's okay. You do not have to do anything right now, okay? During this development, the Office of Early Childhood is working on developing a full list of criteria. We're going to be developing a review team, and we will be reviewing curriculum requested by programs. So when we get to that point, we will be putting out a request for review to our programs. And if you are, you know, utilizing a high quality instructional curriculum that you would like to go through the review process, you will have an opportunity to submit that request. Our selected team of reviewers will review that curriculum for possibility of adding that to the approved curriculum list. So again, that list does not need to cause any panic. There does not have to be anything done currently or for the upcoming 25-26 program year. So the timeline, I visited briefly as I was explaining that interim list, but our timeline for the review process. So we are currently finalizing the full list of criteria, not just those three, we call them the gateway, that those three things have to be met before we go into the additional criteria for the rubric for the approval. We are going to solicit feedback from our early childhood stakeholders across the state. And we will develop a criteria for our curriculum reviewers. We will be putting out a call for curriculum reviewers, and then we will finalize those curriculum reviewers between now and June. Starting in July, that curriculum review process will begin. And again, you as a program director will be able to make a request for certain curriculum that maybe not on that approved list, on that interim list, to be approved. So the new approved curriculum list, our goal is for that to be available and go into effect for the 26-27 program year. And that means you would have the 26-27 program year to determine the curriculum that your program will utilize. So I know that was a lot of information. Again, everything that we have is listed on either the OEC class webpage or our OEC website that goes directly to ABC curricula or our licensed curriculum. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I know we have
I think there looks like there may be one question so far in the chat. I'm sure there will probably be some other questions. So I'm going to let Lori answer any questions that come in the chat regarding those topics. So thank you again, Lori. We appreciate you coming on and taking time to go through all of these. I know these were the two biggest topics that we received in the survey. So I hope that this will really help answer some of those questions. I'm going to go ahead and start going into the rest of our agenda for today to talk about some other topics. We don't have a whole lot left. So if you have questions, put them in the chat, please. And we're going to go ahead and move on. So the next thing that I want to just remind everyone is that if you have not already submitted your coordinated funding request to your
We can't hear you.
Somehow I muted myself. So you should have already received information from your local lead for these coordinated funding requests. You probably have already sent some things back. I just wanted to put up Jennifer Douglas' contact information here, her phone number, if you have any questions about that coordinated funding request. So please document the slots that you may need, the needs of your community. If you have not gotten that from your local lead, please reach out. I'm going to put the link in the chat, but there is a link to our OEC website. Let me just put that in there for you all, where you can go and you can locate who your local lead is. And that way you can reach out to them and get that information. And you can get it back to them. I do believe the deadline is coming up, so you'll want to get that to them. So you can go to this website I just put in the chat box to local leads. And if you scroll down, you'll find the contact information for your area. And then if for any reason that, if you have not heard from your local lead, definitely reach out to Jennifer Douglas. Jennifer is the assistant director here over the local lead program. I'm going to put her contact information in the chat as well. And that way she can help kind of guide you on who your local lead is and make sure that we have everything covered for your area. And so if you have questions, put them in the chat about that. But the next thing that we wanted to talk about, we got a couple of questions about the new federal poverty guidelines and the sliding fee scale. We do have those complete. They will be posted on the website this week. We're going to put that all in the same request. So I do have the link here. I'm going to go ahead and attach this to today's meeting just so that everyone will have that. Let me get this put over here in the chat box. So I'm going to go ahead and try to send this link to you all. Okay. It's not going to let me send you the direct link. So let me post this here in the chat box. If you'll go to our website, if you don't see it today, like I said, just give it till about Friday. It should be posted. And as you can see, it has been updated. It'll be under our forms and documents on our portion of the website. And I'll just put that in the chat box as well. So you can go there and you can find this PDF so you can start using that for your recruitment. So we do have that ready to go. And if you have any questions, please let us know. And then moving right along, another big thing that we really want to share with programs is something that I do not believe has been really utilized in the past, and that is the COPA Parent Portal. So I really just want to share some information on what this is and how I think that this can help you as a program, as a provider. The COPA Parent Portal is a public recruiting portal that's already built into the system. It is an online application source for your families. So I've got a screenshot here, and we have some in-depth training that we can do for anyone that wants to utilize this. But you can recruit new families by putting this online application process out on your social media. If you send out newsletters, however you are recruiting, this website is specific to our ADC program. The families can go in and they can register. As you can see, they'll have a username and password. They can register for this portal and submit their application to your program. And so they can apply. They can attach the eligibility documentation. They'll input their income and then some other eligibility information. So the caregiver information, some of their address, all of that data will go through this online system. Once the application is submitted, then you as a program can go and you can review the application. You can review the documents that's been attached to that application, and then you can move that child to your wait list. And so I've got a screenshot just so you can kind of see. We have a test site. I wanted just to show you what that looks like. So when you are ready to review uploaded documents that a parent has uploaded, whether that be their income, the birth certificate, all of those things that you need, you can just click on your enrollment tab and you'll see that there is what's called family recruitment list. And some of you may have gone in and seen this before, but if you haven't used it, you probably just not realized that it's there. So you see the little more box that has some little squares. If you click on that, you can see all the documents that have been attached and review them to make sure that they're correct. And then when you're ready and you want to put them on the wait list, you would just select them and convert recruitment to regular application. And again, we have full training on all of these steps, so don't feel like you need to take everything in right now, but this is going to be really helpful for your next school year. If you can go ahead and have your new families, putting in an application online, and they're submitting 90% of that data online that you're not having to type in to the system, and they're attaching documents that'll be digital for you in COPA. I mean, that takes so much off of you as a program after the rollover. So I know, coming from a coordinator position in the past, after rollover, you have that mad dash of when the system opens back up, and now I've got to get everything put into the system. You know, I've got this deadline, I've got these 45 days, I need to do screenings, I need to do this, and I need to put all of this into the system. And so how great that you can have your families put most of their data in. Of course, you'll need to go in and review and make sure everything is just kind of accurate, make sure the date of birth and, there's nothing off. But I just think this will be a great resource. We really would like to see programs start to utilize this. And so you can see here, this is the options that you have when they're on your recruitment list. You can see their income and their documents right here from the screen. There are some tutorials and some guides that are on the COPA tutorial tab. There's like an hour-long video that shows you this entire process if anyone's interested in looking kind of before we dive more into it. And we're going to create some more training that's connected to the parent portal. But again, I just can't stress enough that I think this will be a great resource for your programs. And in today's world, we do almost everything online. So why not support families and let them do the ABC application online? I'm going to look at the chat box just while I have this up and see if there's any questions. Can you use this for CCDF families too, since the paper application is for both? So you won't be able to use this for your SRA programs. So if you take CCDF, if you have school readiness assistance, you will still need to continue to bill through the new SRA portal. So you would not want to utilize this for those programs. Now, if you have infant toddler contract slots or you have other types of funding that you're putting the children in COPA, you can absolutely use this for that so that you're not putting in that data. If you want to have them utilize that, that is fine, but it does not take place for the school readiness assistance portal. That is where you do your billing, and that is where you'll need to continue to put those children in. Yes, time saving. I completely agree. We can save lots of time to have the parents put in this information. I know there's so much that this could help. And I think after the rollover, you're putting in those new students. And I think it will help a lot. So, and of course, this is new for a lot of programs. We have some programs that do utilize this a little bit, but I think that we will find that this will be really helpful. Once documents are uploaded, are we required to have hard copies on campus? So Krista, if you have all your documents uploaded into COPA, no, unless you have a different policy for your program. For ABC and for minimum licensing, you can have those documents as long as they're retained. That can be electronic or it can be hard copy. You wouldn't need to do both. If the parent uploads everything on the parent portal, we still have to keep a file. Nope. Yeah. So those are great questions. And exactly. So you wouldn't need to keep a hard copy. Now, if your program has a different policy, of course, you would need to follow that policy. If your school district has a different policy, you would need to follow that. But for Arkansas Better Chance and for your minimum licensing, you can retain those electronically as long as there is access when your licensing specialist is there to review your documents, as long as you have that access. Let's see, what's the link? Sean, let me attach the link for you. And then I will kind of show you, let me go here. And these slides, the PDF version of these slides will be uploaded onto the website. And we will also make sure that on our ABC website, this parent portal link is shared. But let me send you this in the chat so that everyone has it. It's the public recruitment, and you can share this out to your facilities. It is ready to go. You don't need to do anything as a program. You can share this out, have the parents go ahead and create an account. It's very easy to use. It's step-by-step going to take them through each one of the processes. Yes, Lindsay, and just to be clear, this is not a requirement. If you still need to do paper applications, you can continue to do paper applications at this time. I totally understand there are some families that may not be able to navigate this at this time. So As of right now, this is not a requirement. Janice, we do not have a limit on the individuals that can access. Let me go up here. We serve ABC and CCDF. Will this process be streamlined in the future so we're not using two systems? So great question. And that is a goal of ours, is to get everyone into one system to be streamlined. So we understand most of our programs have multiple funding sources, and we in the future do want you all to be in one system. Again, that is one of our goals here at OEC. I don't believe that that's going to be happening this school year. It may not even be next school year. We don't have a deadline yet, but we do want to get everyone into the same system, yes. And all in one billing system. We would love to do that. So if you have ABC and CCDF, you can use the same application, the same paper application to collect that data and then input it into your SRA portal. And like I said, if you are entering your children that are CCDF funded into COPA, you can have them do this online application. You as a program will just also need to make sure that they're in the SRA portal.
Kayla, can I say something on that?
Yes, Brandy, go ahead.
Okay. So as Kayla said, we are working to streamline this process and make sure that CCDF and ABC get into the same system. That is really in our purview, but we're just not there yet. And we likely will not be there by next school year. So for your CCDF children that you are putting in COPA, and that's where we're pulling your attendance, you are still going to need to complete those paper applications and send them in for the team to verify them via email. So that is the only difference in regard to putting your information in. You can still use this parent portal that Kayla is mentioning here, so that all of that information that you would enter into COPA anyway is already in the system. And that family you still would need to complete that paper applications for your CCDF piece for federal pre-K, or for your contracts if that's what you're doing. So you would still need to do that and submit it to that email address. At some point, hopefully in the very near future, you're only going to need to enter your information once into one system. We're just not quite there yet. So we do appreciate your patience, and we are working on that.
Thank you, Brandy. And if anyone has specific questions, if you have, CCDF, you have ABC, and you have any questions, feel free to email us and we can look into that. I see a question. How does this relate to Better Beginnings? Do we still have to be a level 3? I'm not sure. Are you talking about the parent portal? You don't have to be a certain level to use this. This is just part of the COPA data system. So it is no different than you going in and entering all of the family and the child data. The family would just be doing that for you, essentially. So this doesn't have anything to do with Better Beginnings. It is just an extension of your COPA system. Are parents able to create the account and upload this school year when we start enrollment for next school year? Yes. So that is the really exciting part about this, is that when families go to apply, they can apply for the next school year. So this is not just for, your current school year. This is for next school year as well. And so let me just show you, let's see if you can. Let me see if I can share my screen just so I can show you really quickly what it looks like. Okay, so we have a test site, so I can kind of show you what it looks like on our end. And so on your COPA system, under enrollment, you have a family recruitment list. That is where these applications will go that are completed online. When they come here to the family recruitment list, that is where you can view all of the data. You can look to see what has been uploaded. But you can see that you can toggle your applicants for current year and for next school year. So you can filter out and see. And that's what we're so excited about with this, because like I said, after the rollover, I understand the kind of quickness to try to get everyone into the system on time, all of your new students that don't roll over. And so that is what is so exciting, and I think will be time saving for you all. So Jenny, if a family is not able to complete the parent portal, so if you wanted to work with that family and have them come into your site and help them create an account and sit down with them and go through it, you absolutely can do that. You can also just enter the data like normal. You don't have to use this. Now, if you help them create that and then maybe they only can, they can't upload the documents, when you go here, on the parent portal recruitment list, let me make sure you can still, yeah, okay, so you should still be seeing my PowerPoint. Where it says documents, you as the program have the ability to add additional documents. So yes, you can add additional documents there. So Donna, for her question says, are the families already enrolled in our program in this system? So it's the COPA system. So it would be all of your children that are in the COPA data system. It's not a new program. The only families that would not be there is if these are brand new applicants for the new school year. Paula, you said that you don't see that on the parent pool. If you will send me an email, if you're not seeing, you should see the recruitment list under enrollment. The parent portal is a separate link. So I put that in the chat box. It'll be on this PDF on our website as well. So you'll have access to that. But if you can't send that, just send me a direct email and we'll take a look. So what's the difference between the ABC program guide and the rules, and which one do we need to be using? So the ABC program guide is just a supplemental tool that we've created to help you with the new rules. That is just strictly to supplement the rules that are governing the program. Those are what we are following, whether you're looking in the guide or you're just going by those completely. The rules are what we are following. So you will want to follow the new program manual instead of the old ABC manual, yes. Let me just go down. We've just got like one more thing to chat about. What will it look like families that have had students in the program and need to add a child application? So Krista, the online portal, they can create an account, but as far as I'm aware, if they're already in the system, you would need to go in and add a child like you normally would. I don't believe they're going to be able to add a child from this. Yep. And that's something we can look into. So this is something that's fairly new, so we can look into that and see if that's an option. And then I am going to move on to the next piece. And again, if you have specific questions, feel free to email me. I will get an answer for you if I don't know the answer. Okay, I just want to remind everyone really quickly that your mid-year expenditure report and your staff qualification plans are due by the 31st. So today is the 29th. If you have not already submitted that, please get that submitted to our COPA support mailbox. If you have questions, you can email the COPA support and we can help you with that as well. I see a couple of questions about class. And I see a couple of questions about federal funding. So ABC is a state funded program. If there is any information or changes for any of our programs, any of our funding, we will be sure to let you all know. So a couple of other facts and questions. We're getting close to the end of our meeting today, but these are just some things that we did receive via the survey. So do we need to use the updated ABC School Readiness Assistance application? Yes, please use the updated application. We do have the application on our website. Please use that. If you are having any issues using that application, if you're using the paper application process, please reach out and let me know. And then I had a question about home visiting programs receiving additional funding. So at this time, we have no confirmation of any funding increases. If we do, you will definitely be notified of that. And then we had a lot of questions about programs being funded if they go less than 178 days. So if you're a school district and you're planning on going less than 178 days, or you're a private facility, or you guys are planning on doing a little bit less, you're really just going to break down your normal cost by a daily rate. So right now, for example, a center-based slot is, $5,105. That's the current rate. So if you just take that and you break that down for 178 days, you're looking at $28.67 per day. That's about your daily rate for an ABC program. So that is just going to be prorated to, if you go 160 days, that will be your new amount for that year. We ask that you submit your calendar at the beginning of the year, just like you always do. If you are planning on doing less than 178 days, please make sure that's reflected on your calendar. On your grant renewal application, there's also a spot where we are going to be asking you your number of instructional days. Please put that there in the grant application. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to send me an email. We can work through it if you need us to sit down and work through that. And we will have some more information coming. So over the next couple of weeks, as we do more of these calls, we will talk about some more finance pieces of it. But that's really just how you would want to calculate that for your budget for next school year. I have a QR code and a link on the page here. I will make sure and add, you see, I'm going to add that to the chat box as well. So I just want to say thank you so much for everyone that took the time to fill out the survey that we sent out. It helps us a lot to know what you all need as a program and what topics you want to see discussed. So continue to fill that out if you have not already. We will be taking those topics and really pushing them back into our meetings. Even as we move into a monthly meeting, we will definitely want to make sure that we take that into consideration. And then I also just want to put out here that we will be doing a home visiting HIPPY and PAT call next month. We don't have the exact date yet. We will send that out to everyone. If you didn't get a survey from me for the home visiting meeting, please send me an email and I'll make sure and get that to you as well. So I'm just going to take the last 2 minutes here and look in the chat box and see if there is anything that we have not answered already. Looks like everyone has been kind of taking care of the answers here. When will grant applications be open? So we plan to open those soon. We're still working through exactly what the renewal process is going to be, exactly what parts we will need from you. So we will be sending out emails as soon as we have those ready to be open. Will we still have to submit a grant even though we are sending numbers to local leads? So yes, as of right now, we do still plan to use the same process with the grant renewal in COPA. It may look a little different. We will send out guidance on that. The numbers that you are sending to your local leads is really a set of data so that we can review that and see what the need is in your community. So I hope that helps. So it is 1 o'clock. We are going to end today's call. If you have any questions, specific questions, please send me an email. If you have not been in contact with your local lead, please contact Jennifer Douglas. She is the assistant director with local leads. Believe I've already put her contact in the chat above. So please reach out to her if you have questions about local leads, and then you can reach out to any of the ABC team if you have anything specific. that you would like to discuss. So thank you for joining us today. Appreciate you taking your time, and thank you for everything that you're doing for children in the state of Arkansas. Have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you, ladies.